Okay, guys, so I got a ton of books behind me. I don't know if I'm pointing that at them good or not, but I got tons and tons of books, and I thought it'd be neat if I started doing book reviews on tattoo books, and not just book reviews, but like looking at composition and all that kind of stuff too. Anyway, the first episode that I want to do, he's a good friend of mine. He's a really cool dude. His name is Ichi Bay. He's from Tokyo. He, I believe, is still working at Three Tides Tattoo at the moment, but he's going to be having his own private studio also in Tokyo very soon. Anyway, the book is called Japanese Tattoo Designs by Ichi Bay. Let's check it out. Japanese Tattoo Designs by Ichi Bay. I've flipped through this book a few times. A little dog-eared. Absolute treasure of a book. Ichi Bay is incredible. I met him in 2017, I believe. I met him. And he really showed me a lot of things about painting. So right out of the gates, he's doing modern tattoo shop in an ukiyo style, beautiful composition, modern Western flash stickers. It's like a convention, right? A little shunga action going on. Very cool. This is one of his sketches, it looks like here. While he's working it out. He's got some drawings of shoki. He's figuring out basic forms just out of brush strokes. You see that? And he's building up these amazing thick to thin brush marks. When I talked to him, I was hanging out with him for a couple of days up at Philip's house. He was saying that when he's taking notes for his customers, he's always using a brush, even if he's just writing down a phone number or whatever. Just always using a brush. And that's why he's one with the brush. I always say, if you're going to be tattooing brush marks, you better know what a brush does. How are you going to imitate a brush if you don't know what it does? If you can't use a brush, how can you imitate a brush stroke, right? So he's an example of somebody who knows how to use a brush. Bunch of what is that? Raijin Fujin. We got some Monkey King action, little geisha. But it's all brilliant. It's all incredible. These are like kind of like angels in Japanese folklore. Back piece designs, right? Sketching it out, retracing it. And I've seen him do this. He uses multiple sheets of paper. In fact, that's probably two there stacked together, right? Little Daruma. Simple but perfect. Ichi Bay just didn't start with simplicity. And even his simplicity is not that simple. It's very detailed. But he would draw a lot. He still does. He draws a lot of form, and he knows how to draw. He knows how to sketch. He knows about direction of stroke and how to hatch and all that stuff, and I think when people that have that knowledge, when they do something simple, it's much more impressive than somebody who just starts straight out of the gate doing simple. bunch of Fudo Mew and his attendants. And the fire bird around him, often I've heard that depicted as Garuda. Garuda, the bird of transcendence, or transcendental light. The tooth pointing down is for Chi. The tooth pointing up is for ten and Chi. The sword is pointing up for 10. The weight is hanging down from gravity to Chi, earth. Oftentimes when he's sitting, the foot is facing upwards for 10, for the heavens, and the other foot is facing down for Chi, the earth. A lot of that symbolism with the immovable Fudo. And what a powerful kami, or maybe not kami, I think they're in a different sort of kami category, actually. There's various versions of these Mew characters as well. Some of them have got like tusks, some of them are bright red. There's not just Fudo, but Fudo is kind of the, I don't know, the rock star out of all of them. He's often depicted in martial arts techniques and things like that. His name's incorporated. Fudo Ken, for example, is the immovable fist in, you know, old school Japanese martial arts. And what I like with Ichibay, he's referencing all of the traditional styles. He's making all the salutes. This is like he's saluting Hogai here, but he's doing his own version of it. He's expanding on it, you know, which I think is incredible. You know, he told me if, you know, when you're referencing stuff, some things you should just straight up copy because they're done perfectly. Like, I mean, that's basically the straight up Hogai, Fudo Mew, you know, but of course he's done his own thing to it, but you can tell this is a Hogai face dragon. If anybody doesn't know, Kano Hogai is a famous old master painter. But you know, he's referencing all the right people. Yeah, and he told me, you know, sometimes it's people's ego that thinks they have to be able to do this out of their head, and why not follow in the footsteps of those who have already figured it out? And what, do you think you can do it better than what they figured out already after doing it hundreds of times for all those many years that they did it for, you know? And he had a good point, you know. Don't be afraid to reference things. I recently heard Philip talking about it on an interview. Horiyoshi told him, you know, you don't have to learn how to draw samurai. The ukiyo-e paintings, they've got all the samurai you need. You just have to have your own background. In Ichibay's case, it's like not just the background, but the brush stroke. He's got his unique brush stroke on top of what he has studied. Even though this is almost the identical composition to Hogai, of course it is. He's saluting that, you know. The immovable sword, Fudo Mew sword. I just love these ones. I think this one's actually done in red. Is it at the beginning? Or it might be in his other book, I don't know. Just glorious. He's done a little study next to it. How many of you guys are doing that, you know? I'm not quite happy with that. I'll draw a little other face here, and bam, you retrace it again. Ichibay does it for almost everything. He'll retrace, and he's got a cool sketch that was half finished, and he's got a finished thing. And next thing you know, he's got just piles of artwork everywhere. I've got a couple of his original sketches. One of them was nicely finished, which I liked, and the other was one of his looser sketches, which for me, for studying, it just made more sense to have that. I wanted to see his thinking lines, you know. And this book this book has a lot of his thinking process, I think, anyway. Even down to his brush marks on the side of it. Like, how many of you guys would loosely just do that on one of you, on something this nice? You know, it's not as precious to him in some ways. He's probably got another layer version of this that's even more finished, but just impressive, to say the least. You guys think you have a lot of things you need to draw? You know, I'm telling you, most of you are not even close to working as hard as Ichi Bay and a lot of these guys in Japan, for that matter. It's just a whole different work ethic. Or maybe it's not just work ethic, you know, it's got to be passion to the point of like being possessed to do the thing, you know. There's definitely a love for it. The joy of just the meditation of it, you know, sitting there doing a painting as you're doing your thing, listening to a podcast, sipping some tea, listening to music, hanging out with friends, whatever. Just always painting, always painting. This guy usually rides on top of this slug here. They would carry these scrolls in their mouths. It's like a ninja thing. They'd carry them in their mouths. It might have a weather report or something like that, or it might have been you know, a densho for a school or something like that. The hidden techniques of the school, and even within the hidden techniques of their school writings, there would be hidden messages like riddles or stuff that only somebody who was told what the key meant or whatever, they would know. Yeah, shrouded in a lot of mystery. I study a little bit of ninjutsu, so that's been an interesting part of it. The wording of the densho is a lot of, I guess you could say, poetry, left open to interpretation in some ways. This is, I think this is one of the 108 Heroes of the Suikoden. I think this is the Nine Dragons guy, I believe. He's got 9 dragons tattooed on his body. Really cool patterning. His use of black, gray, and medium is just astounding, you know. Look at the silhouettes he's thinking about when he's doing this stuff. He's, you know, this is how you expand on the past and make it new. Oh yeah, the flying on the feather. Did a painting of this guy once. I don't know the story, I just thought it was cool. Another densho or scroll in the teeth. And this guy's reading a scroll, and he's got a fan. Tessen, I think they call it. Fan in Japanese, Tessen. Guy's holding a naginata. He's not stabbing it through his head, by the way, here. He's holding it next to his neck. Yeah, I often wonder, do some people think that he's stabbing that through his head? But no, he's just standing in a Hicho no Kamae posture, which is like a bird-like posture. And this guy is doing like some hand mudra, ninja mudra. Very cool. Doing some Jutaijutsu against an Oni. Looks like he's using a Jo. Holding a Tessen again here. It's a fan folded up. They had metal ones too. Some of them were just a solid chunk of metal. You could knock somebody out with it, right? Demons in hell torturing the evil, whoever this would be, a murderer or something, right? Beautiful clouds. You know, and he's got the muscular style, which isn't based on true anatomy, but it kind of loosely is. It's his like a Japanese ukiyo anatomy, and he's nailed it. You know, I personally don't like it when people put perfect anatomy on these things. It might as well be, I don't know. It might as well be computer generated or something if it's done that way. But to be able to learn how to do the wonky Japanese style anatomy of the ukiyo is a whole other art form in itself. You know, it's like cartooning. You're putting that filter on it. You know, you're putting the cartoon filter on. And these brush strokes are all about beautiful. These are lines of beauty, they call them. A lazy sea. You know, all these sort of shaped things, and even the outside of it, you know. And it's usually kind of a 1/3, 2/3 grouping. Yeah, just glorious beauty lines. Japanese style skull. Mermaid. I got one of these guys on my leg. Apparently, it's a curse if they look you in the eye, so I try not to look it in the eye. Namakubi, Yurei, and some Hanya, yes. Really nice Hanya. Again, it's got Densho in the teeth. I heard somewhere that, like, part of that was, it was to absorb the magic within the Densho or whatever. As you're fighting, you'd have it in your teeth. I don't know. Maybe it was like a mouth guardish thing. Maybe they just wanted to protect it. I'm not sure. I've heard a few things about that. But really cool Hanya. Again, he's so all over the place with these styles. Sometimes referencing something else, sometimes just pulling it out of his mind. Whatever he feels like, you know. Which is also what happens with dragons. But his dragons are so distinctly old school Japanese, you know. Really nice flames. And, you know, this one doesn't have any flames on it, but for the most part, he's always got the flames on the legs and arms. This is like a temple dragon. I've seen these ones with the bird wings. Slightly different than your regular dragons, right? That's them there. Yeah, I like that he's kind of doing not super long dragons too. I think some people go a little too crazy with how long they make the dragon or how thick it is in the middle or whatever. But these are really nicely proportioned. You know, huge feet the size of the head. Huge claws almost the size of the head, right? That's on purpose. It means powerful. Big powerful talons and a big powerful head. I mean, they're not always the same size, but I find it bothers me now when I see people doing the claws too small. Another Hogai style dragon, the ugly face dragon, right? Love the ugly face one. And they got these awesome tails that I've heard sometimes it's like they're holding a bow shuriken. To me, this just looks like a spike or a horn on the end of his tail. Um, yeah, sort of like a blade or something, you know, you see that there. Anyway, sketches in pencil. He does use pencil sometimes, but he mostly uses brush now. Little mirror imaging there. Again, super simple, almost Pinky Yun style simplicity. Still got the nice shapes going on with his legs, you know. Look at that. That's a nice back piece. Doesn't always have to connect head to tail, you know. You can go into the background and come out over here. Why not? Who says that the tail has to come out over somewhere that way if it ends that way? Who's to say it didn't dip around back here and then come around again, you know? Looks great. Leads the eye back over here. I mean, what can you say? It's perfectly simplistic, and this isn't even his fully simplified stuff. He's taken it even more old school now and even simpler. Just look at the scales, you know, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Quick sketch. Was that like a 20-minute sketch for him? He usually sketches in orange, by the way. He sketches it out in, well, it's like a vermilion color. And then he'll go on top with a darker vermilion, and then he'll go on top with maybe a gray wash after that. More dragons. Little studies of the hair. I mean, anybody that studies this book is going to learn something, I think. Koi dragon. Even this, oh, I love this dragon. The single horn. Unicorn guy. And then we got some foo dogs, of course. One with the mouth closed, one with the mouth open. If you're ever doing two foo dogs, one should have its mouth closed, one should have its mouth open. I think it's to do with the Om word. Some tigers. Beautiful classic poses. A little bit stylized, but still powerful looking. Again, a little bit Kano style tiger there. Phoenix, or actually Ho'o is the word they like to use, Ho'o. A lot of people get the Firebird Phoenix mixed up with this Phoenix as if it's like the same bird that came out of the ashes or whatever. This is completely different. It's not a Firebird at all. It's more like a pheasant, if anything, or a peacock. It's a different type of things. Maybe it was a bird, I'm not sure actually. It might have actually been a bird like this. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. Koi fish. Beautiful koi fish. Anyway, it's a good book. I think you can still get it at Checker Demon Press. Mouse. Snake. Go simple. Peony. Lots and lots of peony. Perfect. Perfectly done. It's very important to study the shape of the leaves. You gotta put the right leaf with the right flower, you know? It's kind of a teardropped trident shape. Sometimes just a double. Sometimes you see, maybe just the underside. But yeah, that's it there. It's 5 kind of points. Which is much different from a chrysanthemum flower, which has more of this rounded shaped leaf. Yeah, the jaggedy sort of edged peony, I like those. Philip did a lot of those in the early 2000s. Yeah, you see this is the chrysanthemum shape. Kind of similar to the peony, I guess. But a little bit like rounder. Maybe more like that, kind of rounder edges on them. I think it depends from variety to variety as well. Some water splashes, some cloud shapes, some patterns. I mean, what more could you need? All from Checker Demon Press, which is Luke Atkinson's company in Stuttgart, Germany. Glorious book, well used. And here is a painting I got from Ichi Bay when I met him. Beautiful Hanya mask. You know, I like that there's some pencil in there, and he's got a couple of numbers in there. I think it might be like measurements or something, right? You can kind of see at the top 20 by 19 centimeters, I think it says. But I just love this. I love this painting. And then the other one that I got from him was this Raijin. This is his loose sketch, believe it or not. This is how he maps it out. You can see, you can see the sketching lines underneath it in the red there. He was gonna do spirals and then he decided to do clouds. I love that kind of stuff. And this is a real treasure for me to have this in my collection. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you want me to review next. I got tons of stuff that I'd like to look at, and yeah, this could be a lot of fun. See you guys in the next video.